The flow of a buyer transaction here in Ontario broken down in 12 minutes and in 10 steps. When I was getting my license and going through the Humber College real estate program, all that was on my mind was working with buyers and working with sellers. I kept looking to the material to try to learn, and it seemed like the further I got into the material and into the program, the more I realized we just weren't going to learn it. I wanted to know the flow of a normal transaction, even if it was just someone breaking down the steps in simple form. This video will be super helpful just to get the steps organized in your mind, but I do go much deeper in my course that's in the description below, Buyer and Seller Logistics and Actions here in Ontario. More on that later in the video, but let's start. Starting at the top with your new potential buyers, it will go one of two ways in my opinion. So first, if you have amazing communication and connections with your potential buyer clients, I actually just meet them at the first property with nothing signed. No buyer representation agreement signed just yet. Of course, I will get that signed, but at the beginning, if the connection is already there, I don't push anything on them. My preparation, my hard work, my organization and communication, plus charm will not go unnoticed to them. I will be an asset to them after just one round of showings. That's the first ideal scenario, but the second would be if the communication with your potential buyer clients is, for lack of a better word, not good. Maybe they found you online, maybe it was a poor lead that was given to you. This potential client of ours it seems like they could be either wasting or using our time, unfortunately. These type of buyers I'm still extremely charming with. I'm still asking them detailed questions about their scenario. Where exactly are they looking for? What exactly are they looking for? If they are buying or renting, that's a big one. You don't want to miss that one. If they are pre-approved, etc. But this time during our conversation, let's say on the phone, while being very polite, still charming and confident, I do mention something along the lines of this, and you might want to write this one down because you might use it. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to working with you. We will find an amazing property for you. I'm just sending over the buyer representation agreement for you to sign. This means that I'm now working for you to find the best possible home that fits your needs, and I have an obligation to have your best interest at heart. Just keep it light and simple, but of course, if they ask more questions about the BRA, go into more detail about the area and the type of property, and even the rare case that you show a property to them and the seller isn't offering a commission, say a for sale by owner, for instance. Again, very rare. But I do send that off first. I do send off the buyer representation agreement first for potential clients that could be wasting our time. We have to protect our time. Now, when step one is done, we move on to step two, significantly more fun, finding properties that fit their criteria. For this, we will go over to the MLS matrix. We will set up filters, price, beds, baths, area, and find 4 to 5 or more potential properties that fit their criteria. Go through them, vet them, organize them properly into a cart, and double check them all. Which leads us to step 3, setting up the showings. 99% of the time, you will be either using Showing Time or Broker Bay. The listing agent will have the showing software their brokerage uses set up within the listing, and it's as easy as choosing your time slot. I personally prefer Broker Bay over Showing Time. It is definitely better software, but we will be seeing both for a while. So if you're like me, you are very organized, and I treat the showing process like an experience that I would appreciate. I always bring up Google Maps and find the locations of the, let's say, 4 or 5 properties I'm going to be showing. I check the driving distance between each showing and organize which properties we'll be seeing in which order. This professionalism is key to me, and your buyer's experience should definitely be a top priority. People are stressed during the moving and buying experience, and they will be discussing it with their friends and family the entire time. This is where possible referrals can be built. Your buyer's experience, if it was better than the last time, will pay off. On to step 4, pre-showing preparation. This might not be a step that most agents take, but it's in my course, so I wanted to mention it. I do what I call a raw CMA, a raw comparative market analysis on each property that I'm going to be showing. This only takes me about 5 or 10 minutes now per property, and I go into the MLS and quickly do my short raw CMA by comparing a few properties in the area. In my opinion, this is fantastic preparation that you need to do with all of the questions that your buyer clients are going to ask you. Their first one, and maybe the most one they care about, is going to be, what is this house worth? I like to have a good idea so I can answer that question well and with confidence. Just a few steps below, we go into a full CMA, so that's coming up, but before the showing, I like to be a little extra prepared. Speaking of being over prepared, and it's right there with the pre-showing preparation, is actually previewing the properties before you take your buyers. Not many agents do this, and that's fine. I understand some agents are so busy that they just don't see the value in doing it. But this is a fantastic way to go above and beyond for your buyer clients. While there, you're getting to know the area, you're getting to know the property even more, of course. If you're like me, you actually could be doing some prospecting while you're there, but we'll save that for a separate video. Next, step 5, taking your buyers to the showing. Not much of a step here I can touch too much more on. You've already done your preparation, you've done your raw CMA, you've possibly even previewed the property. But if I could add one thing, because the people watching this might be brand new agents, and you might be stressing over every little detail or not knowing every little detail about the property. My recommendation to you is not to stress. If you've done your preparation, you will be over prepared than most agents. Here's what you can do though, and it's a great practice. When you're walking through the home, when you're doing your showing, have your tablet open or just even your phone, have it organized so you know which property you're on and your pre-preparation information underneath it, and just have it open with you. And if they ask a question, let's say they ask a detailed question about the water heater and you don't know it, just gather as much information as you can about that water heater and then get back to them. If you do not know something, do not pretend. Questions and concerns are a part of every transaction. Our job is to gather as much information as possible to help our clients make an educated decision. Don't overthink it. We don't have to know everything. I would prefer personally an agent, if I was a client, that would work for and find out the information for me, opposed to an agent that's 10 years in the business that is making stuff up or just brushing off questions. So don't stress. Have your phone or tablet open as you are going through. Show with confidence that you're doing your job. Next, the flow of a transaction could split, but it actually can only go one or two ways. One, they didn't like any of the properties, or 2, they loved one of the properties and it's now time to make an offer. Let's start with step 6, as if they didn't like any of the properties and it's now time to set up a hot sheet or an auto email. Hot sheets you set up in Matrix, and it's plugging in the criteria of your client's desired property so that when new properties that fit their criteria hit the market, we will be notified immediately so we can vet them and send them off to our clients to possibly set up another showing. Or we set up an auto email. I personally don't like auto emails. I do find them a bit lazy. They automatically send the property to your clients without being able to vet them first. I like to go through them first just to make sure random properties aren't slipping through the cracks, which does happen quite often. If step 6 was if they didn't like any of the properties, step 7 is that they loved one. Now we're doing a full CMA. This is where we do a deep dive, a deep comparative market analysis, and in my course I show 4 different ways to do it. Once you start doing CMAs, this is what really brings up your confidence as a real estate agent, and you really start to become an asset for your clients. At this time as well, I strongly suggest contacting the listing agent and having some good conversations about the property. Mention to them that you've shown the property. You can double check closing dates, you can double check when they are receiving offers and how they're taking offers. Don't underestimate the power of good communication. We are not against anyone. Everyone is just doing a job. We are gathering information. Of course, we're still being very polite. We're not saying anything that goes against our code of ethics or anything like that, but just keep it simple. We are both doing a job. We are both gathering information for our clients to make that educated decision, and a good offer price we are going to be putting in with potential conditions. Which leads us to the second part of step 7, make the offer. For this, we will create a new transaction and fill out all of the forms needed perfectly in web forms. From there, we'll send the forms over to Authentisign. If your brokerage uses DocuSign or DigiSign, same thing. We as realtors get Authentisign for free, so it's always there for you. We will make sure all of the initials and signatures are in the correct places, then send them off to our buyer clients for signing, receive back from our buyer clients, and send them off to the listing agent as an offer. Which leads us to step 8, and for the sake of this video, we'll keep the flow of a transaction moving forward. We now have an accepted offer. Small celebration here, of course. Possibly a FaceTime could be in order if your clients are tech savvy. If not, a phone call will do. And this is celebration, of course, but we do have a few more things to do. We have to get some final signatures and the big time crunch. We have to get the deposit to the listing agent or brokerage within 24 hours. You will confirm with the listing agent how they are handling deposits. I'm hoping in the future we're all going to be using this amazing app. I really hope. It will most likely be a bank draft or a certified check dropped off at the bank that they are aligned with, or even the brokerage itself. At this time as well, if there are any conditions related to the sale, you will talk with your buyer clients that we have to handle them appropriately within the time frames indicated on the agreement of purchase and sale. From here we move to step 9, which is uploading documents all related and required to your transaction. Depending on your brokerage, this could be something as simple as using SkySlope or emailing the required documents to your admin staff. Simple one there. Now off to the last step, which is step 10, closing. At this point, we are all very aware of the possession date, but we're still in good communication with our buyer clients, making sure they are organizing their financing and talking to their lawyers, etc. If there are any amendments to the agreement of purchase and sale, this is also our job. If there's something like a name change on title, or if they have a small change in the date of closing, etc. While all that's happening, what's left for us to do, hopefully you've been paying attention and listening to your buyer clients throughout the process, and you have a really good idea for a closing gift. 10 steps to the buyer transaction process. I really hope that gave you a rough idea of the flow of a transaction for your buyers. Of course, if you want to know how to do all of those details and save yourself an absolute ton of time on the buyer and seller side, look for my buyer and seller logistics and actions from A to Z course in the description below, where I go into way more detail of how to do it all. The exact flow of a real estate transaction here in Ontario. You will learn in a week what takes average agents months, years, or what I'm finding out some don't even learn. Again, that course is in the description below. I'll put it at the end of the video as well, and it's a value link for the YouTube family. I hope that helped, and reach out if you have any questions at all. You can DM, email, comment on this video. I get back to everyone. My name is Callum Moore, eXp Realty real estate agent here in Ontario, and we'll see you in the next one.